So I want to just follow on Senator Merkley's comments here, because the operating plan for FY25 we've received. It's very much in line with the previous year's funding level for each line item. There's a lot of changes that have been discussed, but it sounds like you are committing to spending the funds as delineated in the agency's spend plans. And I guess my ask to you is, if that's not going to be the case, that the committee, or the subcommittee, excuse me, receive a reprogramming request so that we basically follow the process, the procedure here, if in fact we're not doing, the agency is not doing the spend out as we have anticipated, as these small communities understand them. I just have two very quick follow-ons. One is very easy for you because we've discussed it at length, but it is a significant issue in my state when it comes to contaminated lands. The history that I have shared with you of Alaska Natives receiving their settlement of lands being conveyed by the federal government, and basically they were conveyed tainted lands that were contaminated by various actions of federal agencies, whether it's the land managers or the Department of Defense. And so we have made some good progress with EPA, and believe me, this is not EPA's fault or liability for the contamination. It's the federal government's. But what we have learned is that the EPA is uniquely qualified to help us solve this issue. Over the past couple years, there's been roughly $20 million in funding that has been directed to contaminated lands, and the agencies have been doing some really good work. I just need your commitment that we're going to continue with this. $20 million, unfortunately, doesn't even get the first project cleanup. We know that that these are expensive, but it is an obligation. It is a liability of our government, and we owe it, whether it's to Alaska Natives as conveyance of their settlement or to others. And I know that when we're talking Superfunds, brownfields, contaminated lands, we just have so much work to do here. So know that you got cooperation on my level here.
Yes, Madam Chairwoman, I look forward to visiting over the course of the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Be in Alaska, might be able to have the opportunity to hear about, see this firsthand. And I will, with regards to all appropriations, make sure that we are fulfilling our obligations under the law. So if Congress appropriates the funds, we'll make sure that it's spent.
Very good. PFAS is something that we talk a lot about in Interior Appropriations Subcommittee. Last month, you announced that EPA will, quote, tackle PFAS from all of EPA's program officers, advancing research and testing, stopping PFAS from getting into drinking water systems, holding polluters accountable, and providing certainty for passive receivers. You said this was just the beginning of the work that EPA is going to do to tackle PFAS, which I certainly appreciate, and I know most everyone up here does. Can you tell me whether the operating plan and the skinny budget requests, whether they actually reflect this kind of full forward push on PFAS, and whether it includes the $10 billion that the bipartisan infrastructure law funding provided to take on PFAS contamination? I'm looking at this skinny budget and I'm saying, good for you, let's go on PFAS. But I'm worried about making sure that we're actually budgeting to do so. And I'm also worried about whether or not, with the rifts that we have seen to date, as well as what is anticipated about perhaps an additional fork in the road, whether we're going to be able to do the job. So again, this is something where you're going to have good support from people on this committee for the initiative, but do you have the budget and do you have the people?
Yes, Senator, we're actually adding people into this effort inside of the Office of Water. As you noted, this spans multiple program offices at EPA. A lot of the PFAS work is done inside of the Office of Water. The reorganization announcement that we made a couple weeks ago includes boosting that effort inside of the Office of Water. The press release from April 28th that you referenced included a lot of different actions that we plan on taking, and everything that the agency has announced is already factored into the skinny budget that is before the committee today.
And so let me just ask more directly whether or not you're concerned that the RIF or the deferred resignation is going to impact your ability to execute, whether it's on the PFAS side or contaminated lands or any number of issues that you've heard here from members.
No, Madam Chair, this is a very important priority of ours at EPA. When I was in Congress, I was a member of the PFAS task force. I had voted for the PFAS Action Act when I was a member of the House. I represented the district that had all sorts of different PFAS contamination issues. This is something that, in many respects, started during President Trump's first term in office and has continued to progress since. And we're going to make sure that we're hitting the ground running. That's included in the April 28th announcement. But as we noted in that announcement, that's just some of the many decisions and important work that's before us. It is a very high priority.
So you've spoken to the adequacy to meet the PFAS mission. Are you concerned about your numbers EPA-wide to do your overall mission, not just specific to PFAS, but with everything else that you're looking at? Because the reduction in staffing is very significant. You've got to admit that. And so you've got a big task, and we want you to be able to execute on that. So I just want to hear from you whether you have any concerns about your staffing levels right now.
Madam Chair, we are going to fulfill all statutory obligations. One of the things that was a surprise to me coming into the position was just how many people who are employees at the agency were not working on any statutory obligation at all. And I also want to say that there are a lot of amazing, dedicated employees at EPA. The American public might feel disconnected from agency employees who might be working in Washington, D.C., but there are a lot of people who have been there for a long time. They believe in the agency mission. They work hard every single day. One of the reforms we brought in coming in is ending COVID-era remote work, and it's great to hear noise in the building, to see the foot traffic, and to see people being productive and collaborative. But if anyone out there was tuning in and they don't know what the agency looks like, it's filled with a lot of amazing, dedicated workers who believe in the agency's mission, and we're going to work hard to make the public proud.
Well, I'm glad that you've acknowledged your workforce, because I think you do have people who are good public servants. They're proud of the work they do, and the work that they do has value, and we want to recognize that. I know our second vote is coming to the end. Senator Merkley, do you have anything quick?